back to the refill. I'm your host with the most, Seville. We are here with Reggie. Can I call you Reginald?
No one really calls me Reginald, but I guess.
We're here with Reginald, the original gangster, and we have my man G on the phone, and we have Dr. Debauchery himself, Lanky Stank. So that's when y'all supposed to jump in. Don't disrespect
We
me.
was waiting for you to intro, like you set the tone. Like we was waiting for you to like give us some type of energy.
They were supposed to jump in.
Right.
I'm not, today ain't the day to disrespect me, my nigga. Today I ain't taking no shorts, no losses. Today,
Listen, I mean, the tone of the day is like I'm a little bit disgusted, but I'm proud at the same time. Like, did you see what's going down in Soho, New York? These motherfuckers tore up Soho, NYC, ran in the Rolex store. Or some other, I don't think I
ran in Bond number 9. Ran in the Bond perfume store. There's gonna be a lot of people smelling good as well.
I think the important thing to remember is like when you got the burglaries, because like some people broke into like jewelry store down in Atlanta and shit like that. I think the important thing to remember is the looters and the people taking advantage of the chaos to like enrich themselves are different than the people who are trying to protest.
1,000%.
Yeah.
This is what I want to get.
Let's keep it 100. The looters and the rioters and the arsonists are complete trash, though. You know what I'm saying? If we gonna keep it 100, especially in Atlanta, because this whole shit done started off the fact that a black man's neck was sat on for 9 minutes until he died, and then we saying we marching for justice. But you got coward-ass celebrities and people that want to manipulate the black race that want to say rioters and looters are the same thing. They not. They two different things. So you can't tell me that you about black justice and black power, but yet running in Atlanta that's majority inside the city that got majority of black-owned businesses, and it's a black mecca for black people, and you want to go tear that down and burn that down. So that's when it just totally separates to like this don't got shit to do with justice. This is also materialistic, opportunist type of shit where niggas want to come and bubble up. So,
because you got cars pulling up. They don't look ran down. They not really putt-putts or hoopties. They pulling up with decent cars. Got opening the back door, ransacking these stores and just throwing things in the trunk and just.
Yeah, skating off.
Pulling off, you feel me?
And
so it's just
spread thin, so it's like
they ain't got nothing to do with Floyd. You know what I mean? I think that I was telling somebody.
Just call it what it is. Then that's my whole thing. Like if you call it what it is, cool. But it just get to a whole different level of disrespect when you try to conflate it with marching for justice, though. Because then now you gonna fade out what we trying to actually accomplish. You know?
But you have to understand,
like I'm really not for the marching.
Wait. No. Let's touch on that. You're not for the marching?
No, I'm not. I'm not for the kumbaya. I'm not for the liberal white guilt on them trying to come to me and ask me like, what can I do better as a white man? Because a white man ain't gonna never participate in his own downfall. They gonna leverage the fact that they feeding you this white guilt like, oh, yeah, but it's just all a deflection because what actually can they do to better our circumstance? We only 13% of the population, you know? There's 70-something% of the population. So the math don't even work out for it not to be white supremacy.
Well, I mean, technically, if we're talking about the majority in the country, it's still brown because you have like Hispanics who like in a couple years are going to outnumber like Caucasians.
That's a fact.
But
yeah.
Spanish people don't fuck with black people. So it's just gonna be another oppressor that don't fuck with us.
I mean,
that we have to overcome.
I think when we're thinking of the percentage, and I sort of think I know where you're going with this, but I think when we think of the percentage of black people, if we're saying okay, we're like 13% of the population. That's still a very big deal. Like in terms of if you're going out and you're doing an election, 13%, like 2% will overturn an election. If we went out and we voted, I think the downfall with certain like I guess leftist movements like Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter is we don't have like a political arm. You know what I mean? Like the Tea Party had a political
and
arm.
that's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, they had politicians. They had people who was like, all right, we're protesting. We have like the marches. We have all the demonstrations. But then on the other side, we got this dude who we all going back and say, yo, we all voting for this guy. This is our guy. We about to put him in office. And I think that's what
we have no strategy.
Yeah.
We have no strategy. It's complete chaos, and that's all. We're easily manipulated, you know, and we're mentally lazy to the point that we're not willing to invest the time to learn the game, to learn the rules of the game so we can play the game properly. Because like you said, 13% is actually a lot, but 13% don't mean shit if we all scatter, and that's the problem. Like if you say that one of the actions of our strategy was, okay, we're going to go out and burn shit down because we have 30 millionaires behind us that's going to come right in and build over the ashes. That's a strategy. But if you just burning down your community for the fuck of it, it's going to end up like Detroit was for me and my brother growing up, where you just walking around burnt out houses and burnt out blocks for your life. And that fucks with you on a mental level.
But let me ask this, though. Do y'all think, I mean, granted, I see all of us are in agreement. We don't condone what's going on, but do you really think there's going to be a change? Are we really making a ripple though? At the end of the day,
this is where I want to bring Gabe in on the line because he has a different outlook than a lot of people have, and he made his point because I completely was on the opposing side of his argument, but he kind of brought me closer to the middle and made Peter over to his side. So Gabe, the question was, do you think that everything, encompassing everything that's going on, do you think that change is going to happen?
This not going to change nothing. This not even reality right now, man. This is a viral sensation. This is Gangnam Style 2020. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you doing the Korean dance in front of the camera, you going out there to a black area, throwing up the black power fist, and you know what I'm saying, standing next to a black person. When everything calms down, it's going to be the exact same situation we've been in, just due to the fact we don't have an agenda and we're not coming together to change stuff us personally. We can't continue to look to the white man to be our savior when this is a personal issue dealing with them, because there's plenty of other ethnicities and cultures that have came over here and bubbled within the United States just because they don't allow those mental roadblocks to constantly tell them like, oh, I'm oppressed. They like, oh yeah, it's on some bullshit, but I'm going to self-segregate myself in my neighborhood. I'm going to use all the levers and pulleys that I can within the American structure to bubble within my area. I'm going to be straight. I'm going to send money back home, build stuff back home, and I'm going to be a millionaire within the United States. But we so mentally fucked up from Jim Crow, redlining, banking practices and everything like that. We constantly see struggle, so then we embrace the struggle and we celebrate it. So I feel like it's still going to, because it's a mental hurdle that we ain't got over yet.
But the one part where I would disagree with you a little bit is, at first I thought the same shit, where I was just like, yo, this feels like same thing and all that other stuff.
Redundant.
But then there are differences. Like you have companies coming out. I feel like we're building momentum. We could lose it like by like, you know, just falling into the same habits and then like, you know, the moment's gone. But I feel like if we capitalize on the moment the right way on some shit where, like, just for example, I don't know if she's even interested, like Tamika Mallory's speech went viral, right? If we was all tomorrow, it'd be like, yo, like, let's put her in somebody's office somewhere. Like, not saying she's interested in that.
Trash
like,
speech, though. Trash speech.
All right, like we could touch on that in a second. I want to ask you why, but the momentum when you have companies coming out, where you have like ex NFL high level guys coming out and admitting that Colin Kaepernick got blackballed, and you have like these massive $1 million brands finally coming out against, and you know they've hinted at it, but now you have actual brands coming out against like police violence and brutality. Like fucking Nickelodeon did like a 8 minute and 40 something seconds of silence. Nickelodeon. And
Can I tell y'all why it's trash, though? Can I just, before I forget, not to tell you why it's trash, I'm going to tell you why it's trash. So all of us that work for Fortune 500 companies, right?
No.
So we all been in them meetings when they gassing us in the meeting, right? So Nike was the test monkey, right? So Nike was sent out there and was like, let's try something totally to the left. Let's support Colin Kaepernick when he's going against the NFL, and let's see what happened. What happened? The stock shot up. So once Nike threw out that test and they seen their stock shot up, that gave these other Fortune 500 companies the balls to do so, because they know if they jump on the social justice wave, it's going to shoot up their stock.
But
now you
that's a good thing, though, right? Because at the end of the day, everything's a business.
Then it's not pure.
But who gives a fuck? Business isn't
not pure.
Business isn't pure. Like who cares? Like
is we talking business or is we talking actual change within the community?
But they're they're one and the same. Like business is a different machine. You can't have businesses like act like something other than businesses, right? So basically,
business is not a different. What I'm saying is, it's not. Me, you, and everybody on this call, we understand stock markets. So if we've seen exactly what these Fortune 500s doing, we can get on Robinhood right now. We can put $100 on each of them stocks. We can play the percentages. We can bubble off that. The average black person not knowing how to play that game is not going to benefit from these Fortune 500 companies playing this disingenuous type of game. They co-opt.
You're conflating two different arguments right now, right? What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the whole function of a business is to make money. So we've created a situation where being good is good business. That's the most we can do. We can't you can't force someone to think the way you want them to think. You just have to make sure they respect you. So as long as these businesses respect the community, we can't ask for more from them than that. You know what I mean? You're basically like, okay, you're respecting me, but do you love me? Do you love me though? Like, come on.
Good point.
Like you got what you wanted. Like just take the win and leave that shit alone.
Well, let me ask this, right? Like, I mean, it's a whole bunch of nuances to everything that's going on. This temperature's crazy right now. Right there, one of the main issues, again, there's nuances to it, but one of the main issue is police brutality, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's say, I'm playing devil's advocate. Let's just say there is some change. Why? Because earlier, Gabe, you said that this is redundant. It may not be changed. And then you said, you know what? It may be a little bit. I'm in between both, because I think that it may be some change because we are in the media culture now, which means like everything is constantly going to be in our face. Like, so that's the difference in contrast to in the past with, with MLK and all that, even though there's a lot of change made in from those times, but now it's in your face. It's to the point where sometimes people are recording cops that are antagonizing them, but they're really not. It's really them being obnoxious, holding the camera in their phone. What do you want to see my ID for? It's like, no, you're bugging. You feel me? So look, I say all that to make the point. Let's say it does change. Do you guys really see cops stop being on edge? Do we really see cops or humans not feeling uncomfortable when they pull over a car and it's like 5 niggas in there, and let's say one of them is just getting a little out of pocket? Do we really see people not being? Because that's really what it is. Like, excuse me, I don't want to say that's what it is, but a lot of them use that excuse. They're afraid.
Now,
so it's like,
the one thing I would say that counters that is, if you're talking about a soldier who's actually in a war zone, they actually have like more rigid rules and a more rigid structure in terms of engaging the quote unquote enemy. Like, as a police officer, it's not an enemy, this is a citizen, so on and so forth. But if a soldier is to pull out their weapon and kill a terrorist or a surgeon or however you want to put it, right? In a war zone, there's like a structure, or God forbid, like if something goes left, there's like a whole inquiry, like, you could get like dishonorably discharged. There's a whole situation. Whereas here, like cops almost act with impunity. Now, I get it's a tough job where it's scary and you could get killed and so on and so forth. But at the same time, you signed up for that. It's not like they jumped out and surprised you with this shit in your contract like after you signed up. You knew what you were signing up for. Like, I feel like if this is something that you're not built for, then you shouldn't sign up for it. Mm-hmm. If you're jumpy and you're that type of guy, don't sign up to be a cop.
So it goes back to what I said. They need to vet the cops a little bit better.
Agreed.
All right?
But this is how I feel about the situation, though. So you touched on a couple things. One thing you touched on is the human aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Everybody talks about that I have a dream speech by Martin Luther King and whatever. But the thing about it is we self-segregate anyway. Black people want to be around black people. White people want to be around white people. Mm-hmm. So if my first introduction to a white person is a TV show and they super corny, and I'm watching that and I'm like, damn, these niggas corny. When some white people come around, I'm not trying to rock with them. I'm going to look for my people. I'm going to try to rock with them. So it goes back to the white people. It's the same way. When their first introduction to us is on some gangster stuff, on some criminal aspect, they don't even see that we hold regular jobs. They think we only rappers and drug dealers and criminals. Therefore, it's ingrained in their subconscious that we're a threat, though. So that's why all the training goes out the window for these cops, because I can't think that all these cops pussy to the point of where they just get shook up by black people anytime they're there. Mm-hmm. But it's ingrained in them from a young age that it triggers off in them like, oh, shit, they're a threat. And then they do some old wild shit. Yeah, so you can't train that out of them unless you can't train that out of them until we admit that the media in Hollywood have a prejudice that they perpetuate on black people through the silver screen, through the news and all that.
What about Idris Elba, though? He making us look good. No?
But he still play gangster roles, though.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he's a good ass actor.
But what I'm saying is there's a factor of them being genuinely scared, and some of them are like, I mean, for lack of a better term, like some of these guys are pussy. And then the other reverse is like what we was talking about the other day, where some of them just got a chip on their shoulder. They got picked on through high school, and now they're like, yeah, I'm the bully now. You know what I mean? Some guys, you could just tell, it's a power trip.
Can I say something? And this is gonna be documented.
Yeah.
I really don't see any change. I don't think we're gonna see any change. I just don't think it's gonna go nowhere. I think this is just one of those things.
It's gonna get worse.
Yeah, I really don't see nothing because this is redundant. This is like a ongoing thing. It's been, come on, like you watch movies. Somebody put up a meme of the old Spike Lee movie when they killed Radio Raheem. Remember that? Yeah. It's the same thing. It's almost like
it's the same thing.
It's a fucking mirror.
Then what do you feel like we would need to do to change the situation, though? In a perfect world, if you could just wave your hand and make this shit change, what do you feel like we would have to do then?
I think it would have to be with any. Let me say this real quick. I think with anything, like even with me and mine, I say, listen, we got to curate our own environment. It starts within first. So it's like, as cheesy as it may sound, but it starts with you. It's like how you move and how you present yourself, or how you articulate, how you communicate. Are you fucking belligerent and ignorant everywhere you fucking go? The lady forgot to give you your receipt at Chipotle, so you want to kick her head and you want to tell her how stupid and ugly she fucking is. Now you look ignorant.
Do you ever feel like a representative for black people when you're certain places?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Yeah,
all day long. Every day.
Yeah, so I think it starts.
I mean, if you're a conscious black person, you're going to be like that. You're going to carry yourself a certain type of way when you outside away from family. That's why it's dope having this conversation with family, but I'm not going to, like, I never dog out Obama in front of white people, no matter how much I feel like he didn't do shit for black people in front of, you know what I'm saying? Because it just don't sit right, you know? Well, we can have that conversation.
Nah.
But yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, that's how I feel about that. But yeah, I'm not going to, but exactly what Ralph's talking about in terms of, that's why I say the whole Nike thing, it really doesn't matter, it really doesn't change anything, because going full circle with that, though. So the smooth thing about the whole blackout thing that black people, we came together and we were going to do, we were saying we were blacking out to try to show them how much our dollar was worth.
But you just touched on it. You just touched on the same conversation and the same point that I made before, where, like, I feel like the only way to change shit is by being good business. We have to
let me finish my point on what I was saying, though. So my point was, we could have taught them a lesson and been like, listen, we did a Blackout Tuesday, no streaming sales, no nothing. Y'all lost this type of money. They flipped it on us and made it a positive by saying, hey, we cutting off all streaming on Tuesday. You can't stream music. So now we don't even have that data set to lean on to prove to them, like, listen, if y'all fuck with us, we just stopped streaming music on a Tuesday. Y'all lost $1.2 billion. We don't have that data set no more because all these companies came in and was like, yeah, we blacking out with you. It's all manipulation. You know what I'm saying? Because that if we would have had that data set, that could have galvanized us more within the community to say, listen, if we come together, look, we just came together on a Tuesday and we hit them for $1.2 billion. We don't have that now. So now we all still spread out, but they looking good, and they people in the power positions as them is white.
But the problem I feel like you keep going to is you want the girl to fuck you and love you at the same. Like, you're not going to get both. You should just be glad.
No, I don't want them to love me at all.
No, what I'm saying is,
I don't want them to love me at all.
But what I'm saying is, from the point of view, and I get where you're coming from, but from the point of view where we're like, okay, we acknowledge the only way change is going to happen is if we take away the power dynamic, or we shift the power dynamic that comes with racism. For it to truly be racist, there has to be like a power dynamic where you can affect my life in the way of where I live and so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. So if we collectively made decisions in terms of, well, we're going to, as a community, do X, like with the civil rights movement, and they were like, we're not riding buses and y'all going to take this hit type of shit. That I feel like would shift things on top of the political movement. And I just think, even though black people aren't like this monolith where we all think alike and we are all the same and we all move the same and so on and so forth, at some point we're going to have to realize as a community our fates are kind of intertwined, and we're going to have to get it together on some level.
You know what?
Collective consciousness, basically.
You know what it is? I think a lot of people stand on nothing. You understand? Like, a lot of people don't really stand for anything. Like me, I like to joke, I like to jail, kick the shit as much as anybody else. But some people, they too caught up in social media. They too caught up in TikTok. They too caught up in just a bunch of gossip, fuckery, bullshit that they not realizing that you don't stand on nothing. Like, so even if we were trying to gather the troops, like, listen, nobody's going to Chick-fil-A today. You know what I mean? So we want to hit them where it hurts. I could see a few people like, man, fuck that, I'm hungry as shit. Fuck these niggas don't pay my fucking dumb ass nigga. Like, at the end of the day, niggas will be, that's what I'm saying, niggas will literally be at Chick-fil-A in the bathroom, like, niggas ain't hold me back. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, why? Because they just want that, they want that attention. Everybody's attention horse. It's just, so it gets worse the further we progress in society. So
y'all ever feel like we the jesters of society, though?
Yeah.
Like I feel like we have to give permission to do that. Some of us, yeah, but like, you know, I don't think all of us. I think we have to give permission for that. But I was going to say real quick, because Link hasn't really jumped on, if he wanted to say something real quick before we shift gears.
Like, this dude.
I'm just listening to all sides of the convo.
Boy, sound like you got salami in your mouth. Assalamu alaikum. I thought you was Mason, boy.
Bro, I told you, I'm winning you today, bro.
Hold that thought. We about to get into the next segment.
Oh, so I want me to intro it? Because, yeah, this...
No, we got to intro the next clip, yeah. Hey, yeah, refill.